Aiming is a very important part of playing many computer games, and in World of Warships it often decides between your failure and your victory. So here I will tell you all the things that you must know after watching my basic tutorial on aiming. First, the settings. Go to the HUD part of the settings, find the interface and make sure that your view is always set on full, so that you don't have to press any buttons to actually display that, thus allowing you to constantly have access to very important information. Remember to also enable additional damage counters. This will enable you to see not only your damage but your potential damage and your damage upon spotting. This will improve your battle performance, as extra info on how are you currently doing in the battle will definitely be in hand. Also, to go extra far, remember to enable separate armament reloading indicator as well as time for modifiers. This will give you the detailed time on each of your main battery and torpedo tubes reload time, as well as the fire duration and the flooding duration. This will definitely improve your overall battle performance. Some say that enabling all of those settings will make your overall performance in terms of FPS drop down, but you don't have to worry. Unless you're playing on Samsung Smart Fridge, you're gonna be completely fine. Next, go to your camera and make sure that you set up your field of view and camera height to something that will actually fit your monitor, and make sure that your ship does not fill half of your screen. I'm using those settings with camera height of 3 and field of view of 64. This allows me to actually see the battlefield rather comfortably. When you're able to see the enemy, you're gonna be able to efficiently shoot at them as well. Speaking of shooting, a few recommendations about the crosshair. I honestly recommend using static 1, static 2 or static 3 crosshairs. Alternatively, you can go for the dynamic one from the base settings, or you can download the mod for it. Any of those will work pretty okay. About all the remaining crosshairs that are in the game, I highly recommend you not to use them, as they just making that your screen looks like a clutter mess. So with all the settings done, what do we need to do next? We need to actually know how to predict enemy movement. And I need to tell you that the lines on the crosshair are more of
What you call guidelines than actual rules.
Enemies can move in many directions, at different speeds, dodge your shells or hide behind cover, and we all need to adjust to that factors. Using smoke funnel and the mini-up is very handy at predicting in which direction enemy is moving and if they are slowing down or if they're speeding up. I look at the smoke to identify if they are going full speed or they are stopping. The bigger drag on the smoke funnel, the higher the speed of the enemy ship. I identify the path the guy is going on by looking at the minimap. You can see a straight line coming right directly through his nose. This is the path the ship is currently heading on, and you can also check the direction the path is actually changing when he's turning. I place myself in his position and see what he is trying to do and what he is trying to avoid at this point. Then I make a prediction basing on that and fire. If the enemy is moving towards me, I give less prediction and lower my aiming circle. If he's moving away, instead I make it higher. Then I just pray that this Persian will give me a blessing and that there won't be a single bug.
What did Jesus say?
I mean, this game has no bugs whatsoever and it's working perfectly fine.
That's better.
Okay, so when we got this cleared, silent. How do you actually define how much prediction do you need? It's simple. I don't. It's all based on intuition. There is no time to make complicated calculations in the heat of battle. You just have to feel it. But how do you build such an intuition? Well, it all comes from experience. But you can't just play a lot of games and know all of that. You actually need to ask yourself very important questions after you make a shot, like how did I aim? What the enemy did? What was the result of my aiming and the enemy's movement? Make sure you remember what went wrong and, most importantly, what went right. Also adjust to the fact that this Persian sometimes may screw you over, so don't feel bad that sometimes you're just gonna miss your shots. It happens. Silent. What if enemy actually engages us from inside of a smoke screen? hammer's supposed to hit them then? Well, shooting at the smoke screens is not an easy job, but it's totally doable. It just involves tiny bit of tons of extra RNG. We can help ourselves with minimap by placing our aiming circle, a little dot that we see on the minimap when we're currently looking at enemy outline that's shown on the minimap itself. But that requires the enemy to be actually detected before he smoked up and to be a Dumbo to sit in a one spot. Enemy firing his guns can help us greatly though. Just see the gunfire, identify the line those are on, aim between them and lower your aiming a little bit, then shoot. Of course it involves a little bit of RNG, but if you believe and pray enough, many ships have their weak spot in the same place, under the main battery guns. Some ships, however, have the citadel actually be specifically different in that weak spot path, so I suggest you to check armor of different ships in pod before you actually boot up the battle. And what to do if enemy actually angles towards us. There are 3 ways out of enemy angling. First thing to remember is overmatch. I described overmatch before, and that knowledge of overmatch comes from knowledge of enemy armor and your ship's main caliber. If you don't know how it works, I explained it very well in the basic video, so go watch that. Second, if you cannot overmatch enemy, you can always shoot at their superstructure. Superstructure is usually very thin and has almost no angles for you to bounce off. As a bonus, superstructure is usually also pretty thick, so it arms all of your AP shells, causing significant damage if enemy is actually close by. Third way out is just switch to HE. HE is the new ammo of this game, and in a nutshell is just shoot them long enough and they will eventually die. It's not a very time efficient way of killing enemy ships though. In the end, I want to add that I don't really like modding my games. I like my game virgin. But if you are to actually use any modifications, I can suggest only 2 mods. First, for the dynamic crosshair, might help you a little bit. Second one is battle angle mode, that will just show you how enemy is currently angling to your ship. That might come in handy from time to time, but don't depend too much on it. Thank you guys for supporting my YouTube channel, and special thanks to Mr. Somlex that also supports me on Twitch. I'm streaming on Twitch from time to time, answering the questions of all my viewers and showcasing the ships that you guys ask for. So if you want, you can check it up as well. Remember to subscribe on YouTube if you want more of this content, like, and always feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.